I have this burning desire for my children to not have to go through a lot of things that I went through, which I know in a way shaped me. I was, I grew up in a single income household, and my mom made minimum wage and worked 7 days a week, and it was really hard. So seeing that was very encouraging to me. I used that in a way to say, hey, this is what I come from, but that's not where I'm going to be in the future.
Without Fear of Her Future podcast is for women who are passionately pursuing financial freedom, using multiple streams of income and real estate to accomplish their goals. We are here to empower you to be brave, dream big, and design a life that you love that inspires others to do the same. I'm your co-host, Andrea Inkstrom, a real estate investor and business coach and co-founder of the Partnership for Realtors. And as always, I'm here with my co-host, Tresa Todd, founder of the Women's Real Estate Investors Network and author of the book Without Fear of Her Future. Over the past 2 years, Tresa has had over 300,000 join her masterclass where she teaches women how to become successful real estate investors. Hey, Tresa.
Hey, well, it's going to be another exciting day. We have an amazing guest who also happens to be a student of the Women's Real Estate Investors Network. So today we are talking to Fherlette Madrid. This one-woman show was a WREIN Masterclass student in April of 2020 and has since left her day job to pursue full-time career investing in real estate. She desired generational wealth for her daughters and stopped at nothing to make it a reality. So welcome, Fherlette, to the show.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
We are so excited. I'm excited for our listeners to hear a little bit about you, your story. So can we start just by letting our listeners know a little bit about yourself? Where are you from and where do you primarily invest?
Sure. So I am originally from Tijuana, Mexico. And I, when I was about 20 years old, moved to San Diego, California, sunny San Diego.
Yeah.
And I started my investing career there without even knowing that I was investing. So I was fresh out of college. I went to San Diego State for business school, and I immediately after college, I got a fantastic job at Coca-Cola. And I was a single woman in her early 20s, and I was like, well, what am I going to do with all this money that I'm making, And this was back in 2008, where properties were dirt cheap. Mm-hmm. And I knew nothing about real estate, but there was something inside of me that said, why don't you go and, stop renting a room in someone's house and buy your own place. And that's what I did. And a lot of people thought I was crazy. They said, you're so young. And it was family, you're so young. Why are you trying to lock yourself into a mortgage? You should go travel the world and do all these things. And I was like, well, I'm already traveling the world and doing all the things. And I still have, a great savings account. Like, I want to buy this, and I'm going to.
Smart girl.
So I went and I bought a 3-bed, 2-bath townhome that was just distressed, but it was cheap. I bought it for $130,000 for, thinking back in San Diego right now, that's just insane, unthought of. So cabinets were rotten. Everything was like, walls were canary yellow. The carpet was disgusting. But as soon as I walked in, when the realtor was showing me this property, as soon as I walked in, I said, I saw past that. And I said, okay, this can be beautiful. I want to make an offer. And just after I said, didn't even walk the entire house yet. I just walked in there and I just knew that I knew that I knew. And I remodeled it. I went and sourced, custom-made cabinets in Tijuana. I rented a truck and brought them over to San Diego myself. And I just did the things,
girl.
and we all do. But hey, I had a custom kitchen with granite countertops, and it was real wood for, I think back then it was like $4,000.
Wow.
So I saved a lot of money, and then I was living there by myself and said, well, now what? I need to, I could be making money if I rent the 2 bedrooms that are downstairs. So I went and did that. And my family was just, they couldn't fathom how I was opening my home to other strangers. And to put it into perspective, my mortgage was $600, right? And each bedroom I was renting for $600. So not only was I cash flowing $600, but I was also living in my own property for free.
Wow. I love it. So without knowing anything, you house hacked and
Yes.
you were Airbnb-ing. And that, that's amazing. I love it.
Yes.
Before
And,
it was
and
even a thing.
yeah, I had no clue what I was doing. It's just something that made sense to me.
Yes. Great. Okay, keep going. Tell us more.
Sure, sure. So kept working corporate America, kept saving money, and I bought another house and kept that as a rental. And now I rented it out to a single family, and it kept cash flowing. And this other property that I bought, I was still single. I didn't get married till I was 35 years old, so I had a lot of time there.
Yeah.
And it was a 4-bed, 2-bath. So I did the exact same thing. I went and I rented out the 3 other bedrooms, remodeled the house, then rented out the 3 other bedrooms to complete strangers. And I put that in the back burner and just focused on my career. As I said, I was working for Coca-Cola. I was, they offered to pay for my MBA, so I went with it. All my time was focused on accomplishing that. So real estate investing was not something that I was focusing my time on anymore.
Well, so let's fast forward. What happened next? And so what made you join the Women's Real Estate Investors Network? And then what have you concentrated on? What are you investing and all that now?
Sure. So it was a very tough decision because I was still in corporate America when I was married, and I had a job that required that I traveled about a significant amount of time, and I found myself sleeping in hotels. I was already engaged 3-4 times, 4 nights a week. It was I was fulfilling that dream that I want to say society kind of imposes on what the only pathway to success should look like.
Yeah.
And I was living it, but I felt horrible because my friends, my fiance wanted to spend time with me and I couldn't because I was out there making a difference and managing, I did sales and marketing strategy for the Southwest US for a different beverage company then. And it was going really well. I gained a lot of courage during that job. I was managing teams of about 200 men per state. So that was, yes, it was very challenging, but I felt in my heart that it wasn't what I wanted. And something that blows my mind is, now I think of it and I was like, how did I do that? The Wednesday, so 2 days before my wedding, I was in Miami, interviewing for a promotion that would require even more time away from the family that I was going to start building in 2 days. So, I stayed in corporate, and what really threw me off the cliff was I was in a meeting with a customer. I had already had my first child, and I had to leave the meeting because to go to my car to pump because the pain was so huge. And I developed mastitis, and it took me to the ER because it was just horrible. Anyway, that was when I said, I can't do this. I want to be all in for my family, but I also want to also want to continue producing financially, and I need to find a way. And I don't know if maybe I was saying it out loud or close to my phone, but then I saw your ad for the masterclass, and that's the best $17 I've ever spent in my life. And I took the class, and right after I went and I told my husband, I'm like, I'm going to do a cash out refi on the very first property I bought, and I'm going to start this thing, and I'm going to do it with that money. And I did. And 2 weeks after that loan, that money hit my account, no, the money, once the money hit my account, I placed my 2-week notice at work.
Woo!
I said, this isn't
Leap
working
of
out for
faith,
me.
yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity, but bye.
Yeah.
And I left, and that same day I started looking on the MLS for my first flip. And that's how I bought it, and that's how I found my first flip, and that's what started my full-time career in real estate.
Wow. What a story. What a
Oh, I love
story.
it. So, okay, so your first deal came from the MLS and then you kept going. So, how did that first flip go? And then what did you do after that?
So that first flip was a great learning experience. It was, as I said, I found it through the MLS. It wasn't the best price point, but I was still able to force appreciation on that property because I saw the floor plan, and there was opportunity to give some of that space a better purpose. So I built in a bathroom, and bought it a 2-1. I made it a 2-2, and found my contractor through my realtor, and yeah, ended up making $10,000 off that deal, which is not a lot, but it was my starting point.
Yeah.
You know, after I did that and went through the whole process, I said, okay, I can do this.
Mhm.
And I think something very, very important to mention is I was able to manage this flip. I would stop by to see how the contractor was doing, and go shop, you know, Home Depot, wherever I needed to find my materials with my child.
Yes.
I was able to, I brought her with me every single time I stopped by the house, and I had to make my notes, and I would have her, you know, I would hold her with one hand, and make my notes with another. And sometimes, you know, the contractor would ask me, would you like me to hold your child? I was like, I bet you haven't held anybody else's baby at work, have you?
Yeah.
But that's something that really filled my heart.
Yes.
I truly I want to be a present mother, a present parent.
Yes.
I want to generate income. I want to
Mhm.
produce. I've always produced. It's
Mhm.
just in me to continue doing that. And I think that I know that I'm able to accomplish this through real estate. I'm able to come back, you know, home, pick up my daughter from school. I'm able to cook
Yeah.
like a good meal every day for my husband, and for my children, and for myself. And I love that. I have a huge knack for nutrition too. So being able to do that really fills my heart.
Wow. I just wanna say, so on your very first deal, $10,000 is not a lot of money, but you also here's what it did. First of all, it gave you experience as well as confidence, and you got paid for it. It wasn't a lot, but you still got something. And now you exactly what you said, now you knew you could go do it again.
Mhm.
And you were going to gain from that experience. You're going to make more money the next time. And the whole time you've got your daughter on your hip and you're spending time with her and it's a great story that I know so many of our listeners are listening to that and like, that's what I want. And that is what investing can do. It can be absolutely life changing. And this
Yes,
makes my
and
heart so happy to hear your story.
yes, and that's what we want as a family for my life to continue to look like.
Yeah.
That's why so my husband fully supports me being a full-time real estate investor, and I continue doing that, recycling recycling my own money. It's fantastic.
Beautiful. So tell us what you've done since that first flip.
So since that first flip, I have decided to focus exclusively on the BRRRR strategy, which
Mhm.
consists on buying a property that is considerably distressed, remodeling it, rehabbing it, anything that is wrong with the property, taking care of it, putting a tenant in place so you rent it, and then you refinance it. So all the money that you've invested into the property, you pull it back out through a cash out refinance, and then you repeat the process with that money that you pulled out. And that's enabled us to generate a considerable amount of mailbox money that it's just I'm making net half as much as I was making in my high level corporate job, just by having these rentals. And I love it because I get to, as I said, I continue going back to the same thing, but it's I get to be a present
Mhm.
mother and present wife, and that's been the most important thing that I've gained from that. And I continue burring, and that's I have usually two deals going at the same time. And for a lot of people that might not seem much, but I to actually invest time into my business and research and everything that I need to do, I only have my daughter's nap time, which is about an hour around noon, and after they go to bed, which is 7. So I'm still able to do this while they're both asleep. That's when I get to work.
That's
Yes,
amazing. How
yes.
many rentals do you have now?
We have 9 rentals.
9 rentals.
Woo!
Oh,
Go
amazing.
girl.
That's
Yes.
You
fantastic.
go, girl. That is awesome. And so that is, she just told you what a BRRRR, if you're hearing that word, is rentals. It's purchasing rental properties. It could be short-term rentals, midterm, or long-term rentals. But she just called it mailbox money. That is money the cash flow that you're making every single month. But also, you are building generational wealth and long-term wealth for yourself with these. This is that you can, pass to your children or your children's children. So it's just, I love this story, and I just want to congratulate you. And that's awesome. Just proud of you. How do you maximize your rent from your properties? Are yours all long term, or do you have some short term?
So right now they're all long term.
Okay.
What I do is I focus on, as I said, adding as much value as I can to the property.
Hmm.
So all my rehabs, although they're modern, they're streamlined. So it's still
Yeah.
something that can fit every taste. Like, yes, I could go all out, with really fancy colors and tile and flooring, but I want it to be a bit more um, suitable for the more traditional
Absolutely.
taste, yet modern. I also focus heavily on buying material that is going to last. So I use all my plumbing uh, fixtures are Moen. And yes, do I spend a little bit more money on that? Yes, I do. But I truly believe that that's going to save me money in the long run, having to versus having to switch it out or having to call a plumber, to come
Hmm.
in to come and repair that. I also increase my rents annually to be at par or above our rate of inflation.
Yes.
Mhm. So Fherlette, you got your first deal off the MLS, and what did you do after that? How do you find deals now?
I don't have. I wish I could, look for deals the traditional wholesaling route. Excuse me, but I don't have that time right now. So what I've done is I find my properties through wholesalers, or I use bird dogs, which are people who are out there for me looking
Oh,
for these
nice.
properties. And then I pay them a fee once they set up an appointment for me and I actually close on the deal. And I've also bought leads online.
Awesome. Now, I'm so impressed that you're able to do the majority of your business during your kids' nap time and after they go to bed. Like that is such a cool part of your story.
Yes.
So you've really created this balance of being a mom, and it's obvious when you hear that that's what an average week looks like for you or an average day. It's obvious where your priorities are. So kudos to you
Yeah.
for having the clarity to say, this is my season that I'm going to not overextend myself. I'm not going to do 5 or 10 deals at a
Mhm.
time. I'm going to do 2, and I'm going
Mhm.
to do what I can do during my kids' nap time. And there are sacrifices that we all make, but I love that one of them that you've chosen is like, I may not have all of the marketing going myself, but I still know how to find a deal.
Mhm.
And you can be a buyer for somebody else's deal and still, have a good chunk of profit. If you have the funding and the ability to finance things the right way, you can still be profitable. And obviously it's working for you because you are creating incredible income or mailbox money. So
Mhm.
tell us about how do you fund your deals? Like, how do you finance things?
So up until now, I was recycling money from the first cash out refinance that I did. For this deal that I'm working on right now, I found a lender who had done my previous DSCR loans, which are the loans that you do for properties that are rentals. That's what they're called, DSCR. And he had an option, to where he could finance the property as well as the remodel, and that's what I'm doing right now.
Perfect. And just for those who are listening, because there's some people listening that are going to say, but she doesn't have a W-2 job. How is she financing anything? Why would they give
Mhm.
her a loan on 9 rental properties? And so what Fherlette you just described is the DSCR loan doesn't look at your W-2. It looks at the lease agreement, right? And it loans based on the value of the property and the lease that is in place, correct?
Right. So, and that is one of the requirements to fund the loans. I have to have a rental agreement in place where they can see that the rent is going to cover the monthly payment of the cash out loan.
Perfect.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I just want to add, so that means she cashed out refied a property that she had bought years ago. So she
Mhm.
had a little bit of money, and then she just kept using that same money because every time she refied out of another one, they're giving her more money and she could put it into the next one. So she's just recycling that and building wealth at the same time. And again, I just want our listeners to hear that you do not need this big stash of money to be a successful real estate investor. You just need specialized knowledge, and that's what Fherlette used to do all these things, which is just incredible.
Yes.
Yes, it's very exciting to see how this
Yeah.
is snowballing. My husband is he's very excited for me, and he actually found us this last deal, and he said I want to do this on the side. And my husband does have a W-2 job, and he said, teach me, show me how you do this. And he sees me talking to the contractors and having those tough conversations, and
Yeah.
not everything actually almost nothing goes how you planned it to go. So, yeah, you have to be quick on your feet. You have to be able to adapt, to change, to find solutions quickly that will continue to grow your business. And that's I'm very excited that I get to show him now how to do it. He's going to be a doctor in physical therapy, and he says that he wants his side gig to be real estate investing.
Awesome.
Woo! Love
Awesome.
it.
So, there's so many moms that are going to be inspired by you, but I think especially women who feel really stuck in corporate. Because there's golden handcuffs, right? They're paying you a certain amount of money, and it's hard to walk away from that, what feels like security. But what do you think you would say to, especially a mom who is working in corporate America right now and who is feeling frustrated? What would you say to them?
I would say yes. Corporate does provide a lot of opportunities, but I think at least for me, nothing beats being able to be a present mom. Nothing does. And if you're not feeling fulfilled in your corporate career, then look elsewhere. That was my case, where I thought, if I'm doing all the right things, if I'm getting all this, all these degrees and having these big titles, and that's going to bring me fulfillment. It didn't. So I think it's really important to see what brings you that fulfillment. To me, it's thinking about being able to spend my time however I want while generating income.
Yes.
That's what's most important for me, and it's something that is real very, very hard to accomplish through the traditional route, as I said, through corporate. Because
Yeah.
now I get to, yes, I'm running my own business, but I get to take time off whenever I need to,
Mhm.
and be there for my husband, who also has a crazy schedule. So I'm able to be flexible with that and help him how he needs to be helped, and help my children how they need to be helped. I think there's so much that can be done by leaving corporate, and corporate does give us a lot of positives. As I said, we're able to, if I didn't have a corporate job back then in my early 20s, I wouldn't have been able to buy, or who knows, right? But it would have been a lot more difficult to buy my first property. And something that corporate also provided me was with a 401k. And what I have now been able to do with that is, just to give you an idea of how much opportunity there is in the world of real estate investing, is I pulled the money out of my 401k and put it in a self-directed account, and now I'm able to be a private money lender. So I am now, due to my corporate job in the past, able to enable other people to fulfill their dreams in real estate with minimal risk, if any. Because when you're, a private money lender, and you're lending your money through a title company, if for whatever reason the person defaults on the loan, and of course we're not, in we don't go into it with that mindset, but the house is yours.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And you're making a lot more money on that money, whether if than it just sitting in a 401k, making maybe
Yes.
4% or something like that.
I was losing money, and now as a private money lender, I mean, everybody gets to set their own rates, but it could, anywhere from 8 to 12% plus 1 to 3 points. It makes no sense to not make that move,
Yes.
and
Love it.
and at the same time you're helping others.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it. Well, how do you stay motivated as an investor and entrepreneur?
Wow. I think I have the burning desire to be financially free. I have this burning desire for my children to not have to, go through like a lot of things that I went through,
Mhm.
which I know in a way shaped me. I was, I grew up in a single income household, and my mom made minimum wage and worked 7 days a week, and it was really hard. So seeing that was very encouraging to me. I use that in a way to say, hey, so this is what I come from, but that's not where I'm going to be in the future, and have
Yes,
these big dreams and a big vision for where I want my life to go. And I think something else that is very heavy in my heart is, my husband and I want to be top financial contributors to our church and expand the kingdom of God. And
yeah,
as we have grown, our portfolio of rentals, for example, last year we've been tithers for years now, but we were able to to also contribute to legacy builders within our church. And that's above and beyond our tithe, and that's something that we truly believe in, that we want as many people to know about God through, and helping others through the church. And a lot of the time there's money required, to do all these things, and we are now able to provide more than we had before. So that's another incredible motivator for us.
Yeah. So you knew your why. I mean, your why was your kids, spending more time with them, and then you changed the entire trajectory of your family. That's what you've done. You're taking it to a next level, and then making impact, giving back to what is important to you, your church. All of that is absolutely amazing. And that's what we need. We need to understand our why, so that when it gets hard, when some of those things aren't going the way that we planned, we don't give up. We just keep pushing through. And sounds like you definitely had great motivation all the way through this. So what advice would you give someone else that's interested in investing in real estate?
Sure. I would say, find you a good mentor. Find a mentor that has the fruit that you're looking for in your own life. And that, to me, that is twofold. Yes, I want to find a mentor who is financially where I want to be, but I want to find a mentor who has accomplished that through the same or with the same values that I have, because there's people who become financially, very, very wealthy through real estate, but it might not be as ethically as it could, so
Yes.
taking a lot of shortcuts while doing a remodel. I mean, let's
Mhm.
say how it is. There are some people who don't consider, like something has to be repaired, and they don't repair it because it's going to cost more. But we go ahead and we do it because, number one, we want to be able to sleep well at night,
Yes.
knowing that we're doing the right thing. And number two, we know that we're being a blessing to other people, and we're going to be blessed back.
Whew. Yes.
Mhm. I love it. Fherlette, we like to ask our guests for 3 takeaways. So, what are 3 things that you would advise an investor or entrepreneur who is looking to be brave and grow, or is perhaps feeling stuck where they are? What would you tell them to do?
I think, and this is very, very near to my heart, because there's a lot of doors that are opening for me right now. One of them, of course, is honor of being on this podcast. But the enemy is going to attack us, and a lot of the time it will be through fear. And we have to be able to identify when the enemy is attacking us and trying to hold us back from fulfilling those God-given dreams that we have in our heart. So I think it is definitely smashing fear in the head, and doing the things and accepting the challenge and moving forward. And it's biblical. It's biblical as well. I have a scripture, Joshua 9, where it says, "Have I not commanded you?" So it's not. He's not telling us. He's like reinforcing. Have I not commanded you? Be strong, vigorous, and very courageous. Do not be afraid. Neither be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. So we need to kick the enemy in the butt and not let fear creep in, and do the things. We have to also challenge our internal dialogue. Sometimes, we may have been told the things that we unfortunately, received, or just bad things, or insulted, or you can't do this, or you won't get anywhere, or you're this or you're that. And we have to challenge that and realize that that is not who we are, and we are who God says we are, and find our identity in that, and also smash that and cancel that over us. Definitely. I think something that is also very, very important is being okay with short-term sacrifice in order to accomplish a long-term gain. That is something that I've said for a really long time, because even as I was house hacking, early in my unknown investment career, uh, my family would say, "Isn't it uncomfortable, if you're in the kitchen and a total like your stranger roommate wants to use a kitchen and blah blah blah." And I mean, no, it's not uncomfortable. I mean, it's a bit of a if it's a bit of a sacrifice, but I see what it's going to do in the long run.
Yeah.
It's a seed that I'm planting that is going to flourish. Also, with managing our budget, with our finances. My husband, my poor husband, he has been wanting a truck for years now. And he's a 6'2" guy, and he drives a Scion, and he has for the last few years, but it's paid off, and it has enabled us to be in a financial position where now we can purchase another asset that is going to fund the liability of a truck. So it's that, as I said, that short-term sacrifice that will ultimately lead to a long-term gain. And I think it's also very important to make sure that we're not just sacrificing just because. Like, if we're going to make that sacrifice, or we're going to house hack, or if we're going to cut down on our spending, or maybe not have exactly what purchase what we want right now, but we're looking into the long term, and we have a plan, and we have this vision that we're working towards. That is important. You have to have that. Don't just you can't sacrifice just by saying, well, I just want to save the money and that's that. Well, no, like, why are you doing this? What do you want to accomplish through that sacrifice, that effort that you're making?
You got it,
Love
girl.
it. Teresa, do you have any takeaways from this episode
Oh my
today?
gosh. My takeaway is that Fherlette is this really a humble powerhouse. She just comes across so sweet, but like when you really hear her story, she is strong, powerful. She knows who she is. She knows her why, and she is going to kick butt. And so I love your faith. I love everything you stand for, and I am so looking forward to watching you and see what's next for you.
Thank you so much. I'm very, very excited to also be part of your coaching. And there's so much of the specialized knowledge that I've learned from there that has also enabled me to make better decisions, in my real estate investing career. I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here and share my story as well. And hopefully, it motivates other women who may feel stuck, or may feel that they can't do it, or they don't know where to start. Don't let the enemy tell you that.
That's right.
Do not.
Yes. Okay, so we like to issue a challenge each week. So we would love to have you issue this challenge today to our listeners to move them forward in the life, so what would you challenge them with?
Ooh. I would say to make a phone call to get more information on wherever they want, whatever course they want their real estate investing career to go.
Yeah.
So if they want to start in wholesaling, to make a call to a wholesaler, and it's really obvious to see who's a wholesaler, because they're all over social media, they're on Facebook. So pick up the phone or send them a message. And I would say, either have a phone call with them, or take them out to lunch, and pick their brain and ask questions. And there's a lot of people who that I've met as well, who are more than willing to share their knowledge with you. It's just we have to not be embarrassed to ask, or we have to not be scared. There's fear again. We have to not let that stop us from where we want to go.
So taking action. Take some action this week. That's what I hear.
Take action by talking to someone who's doing what you want to do.
Well, this has been an incredible conversation. Thank you so much for joining us today, Fherlette.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor.
Well, thank you so much. Well, if you, our listeners, have heard something that helped you today, I just want to encourage you to share this podcast with a sister who needs to know that there is a way out of corporate America. There is a difference you can make in your own life, and you can do this. And I love your story, Fherlette. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Well, if you are ready to create the life you've always desired, just like Fherlette, then time is running out to reserve your seat in the Without Fear of Her Future Masterclass. The link to save your seat is in the show notes on this episode.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us today. On behalf of the Women's Real Estate Investors Network and Tresa Todd, I'm Andrea Engstrom, encouraging you to be brave and dream big.